welcome to go for it.
Thank you. Good to be here.
You recently came to Scarsdale High School. What brought you there?
I've been coming to Scarsdale High School for a number of years, I guess about 6 or 7 years, through the auspices of Lincoln Center, which has a program that artists in drama division, also a music division, and a dance division and a fine arts division go out into public schools and do workshops with the kids. They call it aesthetic education. And so I've been, for the last number of years, going from Lincoln Center to Scarsdale. So I have a sort of an ongoing relationship there. So that's what I was doing this time, was doing that same kind of program, working with the kids. A number of years ago, one of the things Lincoln Center does in this program is they put together productions of plays and also dance pieces and music pieces, and that they send out on tours of schools. You know, they'll have a play for K through 8 or something, and then another play for high school kids, and the play will tour around to different schools, and so that the kids in the schools not only get to study a play and talk about it and work on it, but they also get to see a production of it. And my original involvement in Lincoln Center was in doing a play that that kids were going to see. And so through that I enjoyed the stuff. I enjoyed the interaction with the kids.
Mm-hmm. I understand you enjoy working with young actors. What is interesting about working with them?
I enjoy working with young people. Young actors are a different story. But I think I like working with kids because I think when I was the age of the kids that I like to work with, which is maybe high school kids and college kids and stuff like that. When I was that age, I think I was not a very happy person in lots of ways, and confused, and I didn't feel like anybody paid much attention to me, and I just think it was a terribly confusing time for me, and a time in which I think I was desperate for anybody to give me any kind of support or encouragement so I identify with the kids. I enjoy sort of giving something back. Maybe, I don't know.
Tell how did you get the part as Richard the editor in Crocodile Dundee?
Oh, I auditioned for it. A couple of those Aussies came to New York, and they were looking for people to play a few of the major parts, that were going to be shot that were going to be played by Americans and shot in New York. And somebody had seen me in something and thought that I would be a good idea and brought me in, and I auditioned. Although it was one of the shortest auditions I've ever had. I really read a little scene, and the producer just said, "He's great, mate. You want it? Let's do it." And it was sort of.
Did you ever expect Crocodile Dundee to be such a blockbuster hit?
I don't think anybody except Paul Hogan really expected it was going to be a blockbuster hit. It was a little Australian film. It had no distributor in America when we were shooting. It was a fairly low budget, and its star was Paul Hogan, who people in America didn't know, although he was apparently a big star in Australia. And I think we all figured it was a nice little low-budget film that we do, and that it may never even get shown in New York or in America. Maybe just being a little Australian thing. But Paul Hogan had faith, and that was the important thing. And he was right. We were all skeptics, and he was right. So that's why he's rich and we're not.
What was it like working with actors like Madonna and the new sensation Paul Hogan?
Yeah, well, they don't dress at all alike.
Mm-hmm.
Different. I mean, totally different from each other. What's similar is that when I started working with both of them, I didn't know who either one of them were. When we started doing Desperately Seeking Susan, Madonna's first album was out, and she was kind of a cult figure, but she wasn't really anything like what she eventually became and remains. And when I first met her, I didn't know who she was. I thought she was like a delivery girl bringing pastrami or something. And Paul also. I mean, I didn't know who he was. They're very different people. Madonna is much more of a public performer, and she likes to play out her role in life more fully and theatrically from the minute she gets up to the minute she goes to sleep. Whereas Paul Hogan is really, at heart he's still a construction worker, and he just sort of happens to be making millions of dollars because he's also kind of funny, and he's a much more sort of grounded person than Madonna. But I like them both. I enjoyed them both. I'm still in touch with Madonna.
What advice could you give to teens who wish to become actors?
Well, don't do it. That would be one. I would say, actually, that sounds facetious. It's not totally facetious, because one of the best pieces of advice I ever got was from an acting teacher a long time ago who said, if there's anything else that you can do, please do it. If there's anything else that you can imagine yourself doing or get pleasure from doing, you should do it, because it's a terribly difficult life. Well, there are some leading men who are character actors also. I think that a character actor basically is somebody who appears to be a different person each time he plays a different role, whereas leading man, like somebody like Cary Grant, say, was a true leading man, in that he always seemed to be exactly the same person. Whereas somebody like Robert De Niro is a character man who's also a leading man. I would like to. I'd like to play the lead, and I'd like to be a leading character man in a film, and I'd like to do another play soon in New York. Yeah, those are good goals. Is that all right?
Okay.
Yeah.
Well,